Hey guys, I'm David DeMuzio,
And I'm Steve Cook.
and this is Hair Loss Hope. And today we want to talk about why you don't need to go bald. One of the biggest comments that I see on my videos and just around the internet in general, comments from guys saying, just shave it, bro. It's not going to work out anyway. This whole hair loss thing is not going to work out for you. Eventually, you're going to go bald. Your hair transplants are going to fall out. The hair medication is going to stop working, or it's really horrible for you, and so you're killing yourself anyway, so just shave your head. The better thing to do is just go bald. And there are even different channels on YouTube that kind of relate that as sort of the best thing that you can do, or the more obvious choice, at least not necessarily the best thing you can do, but at least the more obvious choice. Today we wanted to talk about why you don't need to go bald. What's crazy is in 2021, with a medication that we have and the different surgeries that can be done, if surgery is even necessary, you really don't need to go bald.
We have everything at our fingertips now, David. It's crazy. I mean, people that say just let it go, dude, or shave your head. I've been like blown away with comments like that because why would you not try to look better than you do if you feel you're someone that would like to have hair? We have so many different options now at our fingertips to take care of the patient, to retain their hair, to preserve their hair, and to restore their hair.
I would say probably as little as 20 years ago, it was a much tougher journey, right? Wouldn't you say, Steve?
Oh,
Um,
absolutely. I
yeah,
mean, it was, yeah. I mean, maybe those comments should go to 20 years ago.
yeah.
Basically, in the old days, without any kind of, hair preservation, it was what I like to refer to it. No options at all. Basically, you just worked a second or third job, saved all your money, and as soon as you had some more money, you got another hair transplant. And that was how we did it.
If we're looking at guys like Elton John or any older kind of style celebrities that tried to get hair transplants, it was a bad idea at that time. And as little as 20 years ago was not that long ago. I mean, my dad went bald and there was nothing that he could have done. And he told me, he was like, hey, I got on at that time, minoxidil was one of the only things that you could really try and do. And he was like, it made my hair even worse. It didn't work out at all. And I still went bald anyway, and I wasted all this money. And there's definitely still a lot of that mentality that has sort of held over. And it makes sense because there have been a lot of bad hair transplants as well. And there's a lot of stuff about negative side effects from medication on the internet. So today, we also wanted to just take you through kind of a Norwood scale. This way, you can actually check yourself on the Norwood scale and see if you are someone that is going to have a hard time with having hair. And it really might be in your best interest to just shave your head or get a hair system or go some other route. But if you are in these Norwood scales, which we'll discuss, you might not even need a hair transplant at all with the medication that's just come out and is starting to be tested in the last couple of years. And if you're this high or higher on the Norwood scale, then with a combination of a hair transplant and using some preventative treatments, then you don't need to ever be bald. And that's a really exciting thing. Again, if you think it's just easier and cheaper and you're totally cool with just shaving your head, and that's awesome. Whether you have hair or not, like shave your head. If that's what makes you feel good, do that. That's great. But the thing we want to make sure to come across is if this level of Norwood scale or higher, you don't need to. A good bit of money and a little bit of time, a very little bit of time, then you should be able to have hair.
Yeah, I mean, the Norwood scale is not an exact science. The different, levels are just there as a guide. So this was a very young man, and he was about a Norwood 5, but he was thinning. So he was not cue ball, or he probably would be in a few more years, but he had very thin hair in the front through the mid scalp and into the crown.
So when he came in, you just put him on preventative treatments, right? He just got on, I think all he did was just one pill, right?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, David, it's almost, well, it is unethical not to guide him in a way and down a path with a plan to first try to retain his hair. And at 23 years old, we can save a lot of hair in regards to growing it back. So we, plan for the worst. Everybody's just going to keep what they have and not get any worse. And then we hope for the best. In this case, which is not unique, but it is pretty impressive and exciting, this young guy pretty much grew all his hair back.
Yeah, so at this point, he doesn't even really need a hair transplant unless, probably if I was him, I just use a little, I don't know, maybe powder in my crown or something like that if
Absolutely.
it's even needed, and then wait at least a few more years to see if anything changes. But I mean, even this guy's hairline came back and looks great. And this is after how many months?
This is only 3 months, which is, in a very small percentage. Usually it takes about 4 to 6 months at a minimal.
So this is a guy that I feel like most dudes on the internet would just tell, "Hey, dude, just shave your head. Like you're a bald guy, basically at this point." Didn't even have a hair transplant. Just got on one pill a day, one tiny little pill a day that he took for 3 months, and now he has most of his hair back. So, and obviously a little bit of a unique case, but not unique in the sense that this is a guy that did absolutely, even if he hadn't had this good of a reaction, did not need to go bald. He could be a guy with hair for the rest of his life, and that's totally an option for him. So, Steve, we were talking about earlier this Norwood scale, where we're thinking. So basically, if you are a Norwood 5 or higher on the Norwood scale, and you have pretty good donor hair, then you would say that that's a person that, with a combination of preventative treatments and potentially hair transplants, does not ever need to be a bald guy.
Yeah, Norwood 5, and then 4, 3, 2. There's a couple in between. They have like 2A and 4A and stuff like that. But take out the Norwood 6 and Norwood 7. That's another conversation. If you follow the plan and you give these treatments a shot, and there are different choices, primarily the medication that we're talking about, there's no question that you have every opportunity to not be a bald guy. That's number one. And number two, have a pretty cool head of hair.
Again, Norwood 6, 7, and above that, that's going to be a difficult journey for you. So we also want to make that clear as well, that if you've already gotten to that point, then it's just, unfortunately, you're at a different place. Now, we're talking mostly to guys that, when I say you don't need to go bald, it's meaning guys that have not necessarily lost all of that hair yet, because it's much easier to prevent hair loss before it starts than it is to fix it after it's already, completed its path. Another thing that I hear a lot is this whole idea of the hamster wheel. Oh, well, you're just on the hamster wheel of hair loss. And it's something that I don't really completely understand, because everything that we do in life, we're trying to, improve ourselves in the ways that we want to maintain ourselves. So putting moisturizer on at night, like most every girl, on the planet does, are they on the hamster wheel of skincare? Guys who go to the gym, are we on the hamster wheel of body maintenance? I mean, we're all just going to fall apart and die, and our muscle is going to deteriorate anyways. So I mean, that's the same idea with of course we're all going to go bald eventually when we die. So I don't understand the argument of, well, it's all going to happen eventually, so why not do anything? Why try and make it better? For me, anything that I can do that's fairly easy. I mean, loss prevention is not really that difficult these days. I mean, the surgical processes are fairly simple and straightforward. As long as you get a great surgeon, it's not painful. I didn't, at least personally, experience any pain in my last hair transplant. Steve just recently had a hair transplant, hasn't grown in yet, but was it painful?
9.5 hours of no pain at all.
Yeah. So we got no pain, fairly quick recovery if you get a great surgeon. If you get FUT, you're looking at probably at least 3 days where you can't really do much. If you get FUE, maybe a day, of you being out. I mean, you'll look a little bit funny for a couple, a week or two. FUT, you don't even look that funny. You can, really, it's just kind of, you need to take it easy for a couple of days. And then the rest of that is maybe popping a pill once a day, just like people take vitamins or do anything. I mean, I don't see that as being a hamster wheel. If you use a laser helmet like I do, that's like stick it on your head, go about whatever you're doing for 25 minutes every other day. Like, my gym schedule is way more regimented, and I have to do a lot more stuff, drinking protein powder and feeling sore all over my body and all these things. And I don't see any guys talking about the hamster wheel of gym life. The message is, you don't need to go bald.